Hey, welcome everybody. We're coming at you from all over the world and in a creepy van in the parking lot down the road. Just spill the immunity. I'm here with my co-host Alex Bree. That's me, John, Bill, and Brandon. We're all here to talk all about Survivor and the episode that aired last night. And while I thought it was a pretty good episode, I have a feeling that everybody agrees with me. So let's go around the room. I got to know what's on Alex's mind to start with. Alex, you shrugged your shoulders earlier when I said, I actually like this episode. And you're like, what do you got?
Well, I mean, I didn't like the advantage necessarily. This was the downfall of Christian, and I think you just, the total unraveling of Christian's, obviously got voted out, right? And I'm thinking just back to the Mike White vote, and just like so many things went wrong for Christian. He does the puzzle wrong. Is the advantage a good advantage? The Jimmy Fallon, what does that have to do with that? Didn't like the outcome, but I ended up not liking Christian at the end of the whole kind of thing too, and I picked him to win. But I kind of realized maybe my folly in that pick, on this episode, because he didn't really have any defense. He didn't really put up, and so that's kind of my initial analysis of the episode. I didn't love the advantage. The vote out, I think you kind of saw the foreshadowing of Christian going home from the very beginning. So I don't think it was a huge shocker. And that's kind of my initial, I mean, I got some other thoughts, but that's why I maybe didn't like it. Well, what did you like about it, Brie?
Well, the part first of all, I loved that Jeff kind of had this new respect for the players, because I think he was a little surprised. I think okay, let me just say it. When he first started it, I think he totally knew what he was going to be into. I think he'd already practiced that. However, I don't think he had practiced being on that challenge for that long. And I think it really did surprise him. I appreciated the montage of Jeff being nasty to people and kind of eating his words at that point. I think we need more of that. But, Jeff is definitely main character energy on his own show, which he should. I mean, he's keeping this going. It's season 50, so kudos to him. I wanted to see him do a challenge. I don't know if I liked and he brought the knife, which was another big moment for me. But with Christian, it kind of, it foreshadowed throughout the entire episode. I was really heartbroken when he couldn't get when the puzzle went dragging off and so into sad. The water. It was a little heartbreaking, and I felt for him in that moment. And I'm not like Christian, but I wasn't like oh my gosh, it's Christian, like he's the best. I'd be that way for like Suri and Ozzy and certain players, but I always appreciated. I think Christian belonged there. I think he was great. He's a great player. It's not that, but he just wasn't a favorite maybe of mine. Sorry, Christian. I think you're great, but you weren't like one of my top picks anyway. So that's I didn't mind it. I was okay with him going home. There was other things about the episode that I really liked a lot, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Brandon, what did you think?
I'm just waiting to hear what Johnville has to say, but I will give my opinion. I'm trying to let you guys know why I'm in my minivan, especially in the back seat of my minivan. I am watching, and this is all a lie, but I have to make a story of this. I'm watching as if I'm his son, Michael, right? His ode to his son this whole entire season has been a dad's words to his son, trying to say what he did. I loved how Christian did mope for a little bit after he saw, basically Rose's necklace go to the bottom of the sea, as that puzzle did so dramatically well. And I love that aspect of Christian and what he brought this season that he did not bring, obviously, when he did not have kids. But just that dad-son storyline that he had, that was great. And I think he could have lasted longer if he won any challenges, except for the one or two. He won later on the immunity challenge. He won, I believe, with the when they press their hands against the wall. So I think I'm glad he went out, just because I think had he not been to 9 tribal councils before this one, he could have lasted a whole lot longer. But some of his relationships were destroyed because he had gone to tribal council so many times that you go to tribal council and it's not a unanimous vote, you're going to have enemies. And he had Jonathan. The Emily thing was kind of up in the air. So like, it wasn't because of Emily. Well, maybe she's flipping around. So I thought Christian's time there on this episode and him going home was all fantastic. Not because he went home. I think it was a great way to go home for him. There she is. Oh, Emily, where are you going now? Johnville.
I was just saying, just doing what she does best, flipping around my screen. I'm going to hold my feelings for Emily because I want to give Christian the respect he deserves in this moment, as all of you all have done thus far. Christian was not a fan favorite for me. As a matter of fact, when I came into this podcast, you all had to convince me to even like give him a chance. I'm like, what is he doing? Why do people love this man? I don't understand. But I have seen him, like I've seen him in his previous season, but I've definitely seen him like the growth in this particular like time, and seeing him go actually did hurt. And I have to be honest, I feel like at this point, I'm at a point in this season 50 of Survivor where I do not dislike a single person. It's not like I don't dislike, but like there's no one that I'm like out, good day, goodbye. Like I'm not feeling that. So almost every person leaving hurts. There was one point when I realized I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a little upset no matter who goes home today. And then it was Christian, and that hurt my feelings for him because it's like you said, Brie, when that darn puzzle snatched out of his hands, it was hard. Two reasons. Like, okay, one, when he got to win, my heart's dropping. Why? Because he's throwing out he threw out Ozzy's name. I don't understand it. I didn't know what happened, Christian. I don't know why he traded. Because immediately, you all know, if you were thinking about me in that moment, you know, my soul flipped immediately. I was like, I can't do it. You're against Ozzy, so you're against me. I'm with Sari. You now have to go. So then when he got to go there, I'm like, no, he might win an advantage that'll save him and send Ozzy home. Only thing I care about at this point, obviously, right? And he gets there, and it's that puzzle. And then I'm supposed to be happy that he didn't win. But I'm broken that he didn't win.
Out of all the things, a puzzle. Like, that was exciting. I was like, he's got this.
So quick. And it must have been, imagine the stress of those weights dropping. Just, even my heart was like.
I would have jumped in the water and gone to go get one again and reset it. Like, that's what I would have done.
I actually fell in love with that challenge, that puzzle. I thought that was put so much more pressure on you when you're hearing that, because we all heard it, and it really was. It's very effective at really messing with your mind.
And that's what I think happened.
When you can mess with someone. So kudos on putting that puzzle, because you gave a guy who's really good at puzzles a really big challenge with that, and it was effective and worked against him in that moment, because he should have had that puzzle. Yep. I mean, it's not to me, one of my favorite puzzles to do would be that puzzle, because it's so quick. For me, it would be so quick, because I love puzzles. I do them all the time. I like see all these different things, and I'm like, that one is, and I really say that is because there's so many guidelines to it. There's the circle, there's the lines, there's the words. All of those things make puzzle like solving so much.
He could have done it. If it was a sand timer, I promise you, I think he could have done it. The stress of that hit in the water was a ton. Now, Brandon, I know you want to say something, and before we move on, I have something to say to Alex and I have something to say to Mia, but I want you to say what you were going to say about this.
Oh, me first? Oh, I thought you listed the laundry list of people you want to talk to first. So yeah, I think I could not do the puzzle. I would have jumped in the water and would have made sure the note Jimmy wrote me would have fly off into the water and be like, oops, can't use this anymore. That's what I would have done. I think that Rachel's, because I forgot that she had done it on her season with the color thing. I would have been great at the getting the colors in the right stacks competition. And I almost wonder too, you don't give them a lot of time to think. I think a better way to do it, again, I'm not having anchors drop on me and about to lose my vote or anything, but to lay that out on that whole entire dock he was on and kind of not put them together, but kind of form it on that dock. I wonder if that was allowed and then start putting them in, because the time that's wasted, I would imagine, of jigsawing them together was probably 40% of the time that he spent getting it right or wrong. So I'm just curious what his rules were. That is he able to use that? Is he not in that mindset because at a challenge you don't want to show the answer first? And so how do you get out of that? So that's my take. So go ahead, and whoever you want to reply to next, go for it.
Okay, hear me out. Alex and Mia, I think I can do you both at the same time. I do not think that this is the worst twist in Survivor history. I think it was interesting. I think it was engaging. I think it was fun and funny. I've always thought, I wonder if people could vote for themselves. It happened. It was one in the urn, okay? And the reason why I have to drag Alex into this is because Alex is like, why is it the Jimmy Fallon one? Okay, we're not going to keep doing this about our fans. They're fans, Alex. They're famous fans. So he's making a difference. He's the one who got Jeff to compete. So he deserves a little piece of the little puzzle of the really fun twist that happened yesterday. Did it suck for Christian? Yes.
Okay, but he could
have said no. Christian didn't have to do it.
Is Jimmy Fallon's schedule so busy he can't fly out to Fiji for 48 hours? I mean, can he not get on his private jet? Can he not record a freaking Loom video, and there's a little video ad? I mean, it's like Jimmy Fallon, he's a super fan. I don't think he's a super fan. Okay, Jimmy Fallon ain't watching no Survivor. Give me a break. I never heard Jimmy Fallon watching no Survivor my whole life. Okay, it's a silly thing because Christian has to go back. There's no ambiguity in it. He could have. I just thought, he has to go back and read this note to everybody. I'm voting for myself. Oh, that's so historic. Like, I don't know. It
was kind of historic, but and hear me out.
One in the urn. How is that any different from an extra vote? Like, that's just an extra vote, right? So he wins an extra vote, but they just, but your extra vote's already in there. It's like, okay, whatever.
It's actually worse than extra vote, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, hear me out. I hear you. I feel you. But Christian, didn't have to compete. But I did think it was really sad that he had to go back and tell everyone. But then I thought about it from the flip perspective. If he didn't tell them, then they would not have known that they couldn't use different advantages on him. So it would have been awkward if someone tried to use a steal a vote. Not that.
I thought it would have been better if he went back and it was actually I lost, but I actually won, because Jimmy Fallon's kind of a goofy guy. So, it'd be like, oh, I'm actually safe and I'm totally immune. It just could have been a little bit different of a twist, I think.
I wish he didn't.
I think it was unfortunate because Christian was on the chopping block. If that would have happened to an Aussie, or and I think about it too, if Christian can't complete that puzzle, could anybody complete that puzzle? They should have given him Suri time. During Suri's challenge, she sat on the beach, cried, got back up, sat on the beach, cried again, and then still found it. It's like, does Christian get that type of time? No. So
he might have. We don't know how long it took for those anchors to drop, although it did not look like it was a lot of time.
It looked like Suri, they would have tied rubber duckies to every rope and say, it says the rubber ducky hits the bottom.
You guys are not going to keep coming for Suri anymore.
I love Suri.
She protected Ozzy. I'm not going to have it.
I'm just saying, Suri took a break in the middle of her challenge and still completed it, and we didn't even know the time. So I'm just saying,
yeah,
Christian was working on that thing the entire time. Is apparently some super genius couldn't figure out. That's a super easy puzzle though. So
it was really easy, which makes me think he did not have a lot of time. So, I agree.
Yeah, when you got someone like Christian doing now, if that had been anybody else, they wouldn't even had two pieces up on that puzzle, because the puzzles aren't their thing. You have to be, it is still a puzzle. It does have difficulty to it, but it was right in Christian's lane. So I don't know. Did they it's Christian? They had production out there shortening the ropes. Or cutting, maybe I don't know. I just feel like he did have. I know they didn't, but it felt like he didn't. Not of anybody that could do that puzzle, that could do that challenge. I thought Christian was almost best suited for it.
He was,
but it showed how stuck he was. He knew he was. I don't think he knew at the time how bad off he was, but I think he knew that he was going to be gunned for soon. So I think there was a lot on the line, and that's, I think, why he even went to go to the challenge anyways. The people that kind of raised their hand, Devins knew he was pretty much in trouble. Stephanie, I'm not sure. It wasn't Ozzy. It wasn't Sari. It wasn't those, unless it was Ozzy.
Ozzy did it. He most certainly did.
I don't know why he did it.
It was Ozzy and Christian at the end. And then he lost paper to rock.
Yeah, maybe he was doing it just to make sure that Christian didn't do it, because they were saying beforehand, out of all the people, and that I think is an error on Joe's game for even giving Christian the ability. This whole, I know that fans get mad that we're doing some random stuff to put these guys in random teams, but they're coming around and for the most part are deciding things randomly as well. So we can't, as fans, be too mad that Survivor is saying, hey, we're going to do things randomly, and it gets beat out by a rock, paper, scissors by the Survivor. So I think that's more indecisiveness on Joe's part that we've been used to, I think, for a while.
Well, speaking of Joe, I want to get into his revelation of how much he's matured in the game. What is Joe talking about? He said, I did not let Devins see any of my angst or my, how upset I was and how pissed off I was. Okay, first, you're deceiving, Joe. Joe, you're being deceptive if you're hiding your true feelings and not talking to Devins the way, that's deceptive behavior. So are you lying about how you really feel, Joe? Is that honorable and is that integrity?
Hey, coach is gone. Don't come out.
Your Japanese Mayan name is gone, Joe.
Gone.
Yes,
this is Joe. This is JoJo.
Yeah.
And let's be real. Joe's normally hot-headed, so like he would. It's the same situation. Don't get me wrong. Is he lying? Okay, but Survivor is a game where you're supposed to lie a little bit. I don't fault him for lying, but like
I don't either. But don't preach it. Don't preach honor and integrity.
Well, he has so much integrity that he cannot choose somebody to go on the reward or the journey, right? But he can, be deceptive. I agree with Bree. It is a form of deception, which is, yes, that's what he should do. But his whole game is that he isn't deceptive. He's always a straight shooter. He always is honest with people, and he's not being honest with Devins. Why? Well, he doesn't like Devins.
Yeah. And I'm almost wondering, I think this whole season he's been trying to play this other game that he still doesn't understand. When he had that confrontation with Devins, when they were on the former, the original tribe, I think he was starting to understand that, I guess the truth game won't work, but I still want to try to do it as best as possible, and faltering on that. I think playing better, but faltering on his big old theme that is going to be defeated easily in a tribal council.
It's the way he's putting it forward. I have no problem with Joe being deceptive. I'm here for it. I want it. Joe, start playing Survivor like a Survivor player. However, you just said, Johnville, your Zoom is so perfectly timed on all of these things.
I know, it's magical.
I love it. But he is saying, I am maturing because I'm deceptive.
But he's maturing from his anger because he used to respond really aggressively. I agree. He's not being super aggressive, but he's still getting his point across. You know what I mean? But can we talk about him in that challenge? Because my man could have held that thing with his pinky finger. Joe was like, "You guys good over there?"
Oh, I know. That's his challenge. That is where Joe shines. Even Ozzy was like, nah, not doing it.
So see, I'm just saying. I do think he's changed. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I think he's changed, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I think he's doing better, and I think he's playing the game a little smarter than he did before. But I also it's the way he's presenting it all that is where I have a problem with Joe. Like, just say you're playing Survivor like it's supposed to be played. Come that way with it and be real, but don't. Or
the storyline for him is, in my heart, I'm this loyal person and I'm tugged this other direction in Survivor, and I want to do it for my family, and I want to do it because, I want to play the game and I want to win, and it's a conflict for me. Yep. And that's interesting. That's an interesting struggle that somebody goes through, is like, I'm a firefighter. I'm a first responder. Like, my life is brotherhood. My life is helping people. That's who I am in my heart. And I come into this game and I want to win for my family. And that's something that I deal with every single, like, that's compelling. That's interesting. But this, I'm only going to be this, and there's no conflict with me, and everything's straight and narrow, and that's what it is. And but I mean, maybe that's what he's saying, but he doesn't know how to say it, So
Right.
Joe, like, let me,
and he won't know how to say
you.
it. He won't know how. That's
Right.
a thing that you have as a person to be able to speak out and articulate the whole entire story, even if it's changed. It's the reason why Sarah Lacina won her season, being the opposite of what she was as a thief. It's the reason why we cheer for an Emily Flippin, who basically she's on this season because
certainly do not cheer for her.
And she role reversed during her season. She matured. She knew how to tell the story. She won't. I think she's eliminated soon, but Joe won't be eliminated soon because he doesn't know how to tell a story. And people like Sari want to keep him in this game because you can't sell your story at the end of this, and that's important.
Yeah, so. I just think Joe's in a good spot right now. I don't think he's in a lot of danger right now because of the way things are playing out. But I do think that the rock, paper, scissors, make a decision, Joe. You're big, strong, and tough, and when you're going into a fire, you're not going, well, let's rock, paper, scissors to see who goes in first. So like things you like be like be on the spot. Speaking of, let's get into some of one of my favorite players, a real spotlight on the working game and the strategy of Sari, which we great look at this week. She's like, I'm friends with everybody, but I'm doing because Emily is on the other hand, and Christian are being made to, like, they're going around back and forth to other people, and it's real obvious. And has this way about her that is so unassuming, and like I don't know, it's almost like she's an invisibility cloak on her half the time because people just don't. She's just like, okay. And she just listens to what they have to say and then does all of her stuff quietly in the background as the puppet master. And I loved it. I think of it.
It's almost frustrating to watch because she's so dominant in this season right now. I mean, she's so dominant I think this is what Christian saw. He looked at Mike White and he said, wow, this guy's good. I got to get him out. But I think Christian could maybe look in retrospect and say, you know what? I needed Mike White because he was probably the only person who had more influence than Sari, who had star power like Sari does. Sari, just everybody wants to gravitate towards her. Mike White has that same ability because he is who he is. And Christian needed that. Christian comes on the camp and everybody hates the guy. Honestly, they all kind of looked at him and laughed at him, and he didn't have that pull towards them. And so I wonder if Christian's going to look back and say, you know what, as much as Mike White was a threat, Mike White would have protected Christian because I think for Mike White, he just wanted to be on for as long as possible because he needs that accolade when he goes back into, White Lotus land where he's like, yeah, I was on Survivor and I made it to the final 5, or I made it to the final, getting outvoted that early pre-merge, it's a bad look. So I think Christian just made a huge misstep. And yeah, Sari's she has an inroad with everybody. Everybody likes her. She's making 0 mistakes. I think the Rizzo, John, Joe, and Sari at the end, I mean, that just seems like slam dunk, easy for Sari. It's Sari's game to lose right now. And I think the only thing that could happen is like Sari is in like a Final 4 situation, kind of like with Poverty, right? And then she gets voted off in kind of that very end game because she can't win an immunity. And they realize, wow, she's the best of all. She's like killing this game right now. That's where I see like Sari might get a hang up. But we'll see about that, I guess.
The editors are sitting there in the room each week trying to be like, okay, like we're really giving Sari this winner's edit. How can we stop this? Somebody give me, we need to show her to making a mistake. Oh, let's put her out, let's show all the coconut. Oh wait, she got the coconut. Okay, let's see her piss off this one. She hasn't pissed anybody off. Like it's not a winner's edit. It's just Sari. Like that's what she is doing to the season. And I had a hot take that I want to share that we did on the mid-season thing we did on Monday. Is hot take, she will be given an immunity necklace from Ozzy or Rizzo sometime this season because they can't give her an idol, so that's not possible. But to save Sari, I think she's so locked in, especially with Ozzy. Maybe not Rizzo, but especially with Ozzy. Ozzy could save her by winning immunity, playing his idol, and giving her the immunity necklace.
I thought about that.
You heard it here.
I agree.
That's how good she's doing.
I
That's
agree
how much
too.
she's
I think that something's going to happen. Here's the thing, and I was watching a Survivor Now podcast last night where they had Jake on from season. What was Jake's season? 45, 46. I can't remember. There was great. Go watch Survivor Now podcast. They're doing amazing things over there. But they were talking about Rizzo, and here's the thing: I think with Cirie and Rizzo, and why I think even Rizzo would do it, and I know Ozzy would do it because Cirie has stayed strong for the two of them. Is that Cirie accepts Rizzo. He's the youngest player there. She accepts Rizzo. There isn't that, oh, you're just a young kid, I'm not going to play with you or take you seriously. Cirie she is like a whisperer when it comes to, like, she's a great mom and she's a nurse, and so she is this ability to, really give respect and connect with players of any age. And where I think, with the coach and the Colby and some of the other ones, oh, this young kid, who does he think he is coming in? And, all this stuff. I think that Cirie she's always respected Rizzo. Like, she got to know him and was like, I can work with this and I respect him. That I think Rizzo would even, if it's final five, they're going to play their idols regardless. And Cirie needs saving. I think he would probably do it. So.
Well, I was going to say, I was this close to saying for the first time in a long time, Alex, I agree with you. I was about to fist bump you. I was right here getting and then you said your final three and left Oscar out again. Why can we not find common ground, Alex? Why? I agree with everything else you said about Cirie, about all of it. I'm like, yes. Ooh, hit the nail on the head. Yay.
Well, maybe it will be Cirie. Maybe it will be Ozzy, Rizzo, and Cirie at the end. And I still think Cirie wins, in that scenario. And I think she's confident enough to do that. And maybe that is, part of that winning story is, hey, we were the solid three. She was going to go to the end with Poverty too. I don't think there was any plan for her to do that, for her to vote off Poverty and, Australia versus World. So, will Cirie win the NCIS, investigate, all the other players, know everyone's vote before everybody votes, so, or the sheriff country reward challenge, who knows? But yeah, Cirie, I think that's just the narrative going into everything, is that Cirie's just, it's Cirie's game to lose. And at what point can she lose? Because she's close with Tiff. It seems like she's really close with Tiff, because Tiff's she doesn't have a friend out there. And honestly, sometimes you forget Tiff is there.
Yeah.
Because she gets no screen time. So she's just sitting on the dock by the bay with Cirie. They seem super close. Devins and Emily are the complete way out. And then Jonathan's like this shit stirrer where he's just constantly causing this massive drama with everybody. He's super emotional. Is this the Boston Rob logic to be a big giant drama queen and just cause fights with that? He's roiding out on everybody, all the time.
Can I mention one thing? When you were giving accolades out and all these different things, Cirie did win the America's Culinary Cup last night with the rice. So let's at least give her credit for that last night. Man, the rice was the thing. Emily was not happy, but everybody raving about the rice. I think, it came out perfectly. It was tender. It wasn't overcooked.
They got to get Padma out on the island. Yeah.
Man, they made it sound
cooking. They should do a cooking challenge. Survivor cooking challenge.
Yeah.
They made it seem like she seasoned the rice, put butter in it, must have put some fish oil. I don't know what she did to that rice, but you're right.
Probably did. It is Cirie. She probably did without the ingredients.
Yeah, she just sprinkled her magic dust.
Cirie magic.
Over whatever that was, and everybody was like, It was so beautiful and so amazing, and everyone was so happy. Jonathan went on and on about how the rice changed the entire mood at camp, and everybody was feeling better and doing and felt like themselves again. So
Right, and
this
that's what happened
rice,
that's what happened last season to him, is he got hangry and they sent him home because he was just getting too ticked
Yeah.
off. So that I think was huge, the fact that Jonathan got to eat. Every time he got the Applebee's, gets the rice, that's just levels up for Jonathan.
Well, this is like an old school strategy, right? Which is be the provider, give people food, put it in their belly, hand them the food, and they associate this good feeling. Oh, good feelings come from Ozzy. Good feelings come from Sari. When I'm around them, I'm full, I'm happy. And then this whole drama with Emily and Sari with how much rice should we make?
Oh
Okay, this is not a good conversation to have. Emily, yeah, no, we should make 5 cups. No, we should make 6. You won the rice. You don't know if you're going to be there tomorrow. You just won. Eat the rice. Like, well, who cares? Like, the game is 26 days long. It's like, no, we should cook 10 cups, not 16 cups. It's like people are.
She was trying to have an opinion just to be able to flip from that opinion. That's what she was
literally.
saying. You can't flip unless you have an original opinion, and she did.
People are hungry. Like, who cares how much rice? Don't argue about how much somebody should be eating or not eating. It's just never going to work out for you.
You don't like it? Feel free to write my name on the parchment. What did Cerise say? She said one more thing about that rice. It'll be her.
That's right. And it almost was her.
Which this is why I wish we had like a ImmuniTEA player, which she would have agreed to play with Jeff and then just drop out right away and says, screw you all. No one gets the rice.
Oh,
that would have been fun. But
we didn't even talk. Are we? Yes, you're probably getting there, because that challenge, I was nervous about whether or not they would get it. Is that sad? I wasn't positive for a second. And I'm like, is Tiff strong? Because I thought she was. I got nervous.
Really well on this challenge before. I mean, they picked the right people for that challenge. I thought it was great. I wanted to see, a little bit more struggle. I wanted Jeff to last a little bit longer on that whole thing and make it a little more exciting. But I was so happy he brought the knife out. So on Wednesday nights, when this is live and it's streaming, I am actually running another meeting at the same time, so which I'm not paying attention to at all. But I also missed little things, and I missed the knife portion of that last night. So when rewatching it this morning, I'm like, oh, okay. He did bring the knife out. There is that Jeff is still there. That I'm gonna stab the rice and really make you pay is still there. And I like that. I want to see more. I love that part about Jeff. Bring that more. But I did want to see more with the rice, as far as I wanted to know what the side bet was with Christian. Did he ever say?
Hear it. He said something. Did anyone?
I don't think it was confirmed. Like what?
Yeah,
it wasn't. But like, what did he say? Like, I know it didn't go through, but what was he asking for? Does anyone know?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
I think it was like a distraction. He was trying to distract Jeff or get him off his game. And then Jeff, he's flipping too. It's like, I need 5 people. They choose the 4 strongest people.
So bad.
And then he's just like, okay, whatever. Well, it's like, Jeff, keep it to 5, dude.
That was
he always negotiates, don't he? Alex, he always negotiates. It's a negotiation. It's open for conversation.
Always negotiate.
Sometimes he comes in and he's like, no.
The 4 strongest people. He set himself up to lose. Like, give me a Christian or give me Aubrey outlasted Jeff. I mean,
he would have accepted too. He would have accepted one person, and if nobody did, he'd be like, all right,
I'm playing anyway.
Come out. He grabs a regular video guy. All right, now I can play. That was like 4th grade. Pick me on a kickball field, Jeff moment, and I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it was cool to see Jeff compete. It was cool to see Jeff compete, and everyone's always wanted that and stuff.
He made that
and good challenge. You can't get hurt. It's just your hands get a little bit. But yeah, I was just kind of disappointed with that, because it's the 4 strongest people. There was no suspense in that. I'm like, Jeff's going to get kind of killed by these people. Let's get like a weaker person in there.
Yep.
I guess I thought since Jeff had eaten and he was strong, and Jeff looks like a fit, handsome young man. You know what I mean? Like what? And then what weight was he holding? That was another question I don't know that was answered, because everyone else was holding a percentage of their pregame body weight.
His pregame weight, which was
it was his pregame weight too.
Yes. What?
So it's probably the same, right? So his was probably heavier.
25% of his pregame, which is probably yep, he's probably eating the Applebee's that's left over and everything else.
So I think Jeff's might have been a little heavier if we could maybe put that into account. That, you know what I mean? Because he's probably not like.
Well, and he's nourished, and he's had sleep, and he's had this.
And a shower, apparently, if you ask Suri.
That was important.
Well, you know, there's a lot of big, bold statements being made in this episode by different people. But one of the ones that really got me right at the beginning and then produced absolutely zero results was Aubrey's conversation with Jonathan saying, these people have idols. It is time to make some moves. And then Aubrey does what? Absolutely nothing. So what's that all about?
It goes to show that these people can't do what Suri can do. Tiffany did the same thing. She's like, I want Emily out. If I had it my way, I want Emily out. And what happens? Emily gets no votes because this is Suri's game. And this is Suri's world.
But you know who did get votes?
Mm-hmm. Oscar. And you know who cast those votes?
It's time for flipping Emily to go down. Rick Devens, I gave you accolades last week. I said, go Rick Devens. I gave you accolades. You. And now you do this to me.
Yeah.
Your time is coming to an end.
Well, that's a really good point too, is that here we are, we're past midway through the season. Idols are out in the open and pretty much everybody knows what's going on, real or fake. Devens, I was stupid to tell Miss Flippin. We don't appreciate the fact that, you know, you're giving her information, but where are these? You need larger numbers to flush an idol, right? When you get lower in numbers, you can't flush an idol as effectively because you need to be able to, if you're putting votes on them, you also have to have enough votes on somebody else. And so what happened? And these are seasoned players who know better than to leave idols. I'm not complaining because Rizzo and Ozzy are still there, but also what's the deal with these? Like, they're not even barely coming up in conversation, and I don't understand that.
They're coming up, and Suri's batting them down. That's what she's doing. Why are they coming after my boys? Why they want my boys? They're not getting them today. Boom. Oh,
Suri actually being on Ozzy's side this time, and not like flipping and just holding him for like her own personal gain, has given me so much more love for her because she always gets them. She gets them every time, but not this time.
I think that's something that we're missing is we're not seeing how Suri is communicating, how she's not with Ozzy, how she's not with Rizzo. You know, like it was so strange that Christian's coming up to Suri. You can just kind of look at that relationship and be like, oh, you're right. Aligned. Or Emily is so convinced that she's not aligned with Ozzy and that she is aligned with Rick and, you know, this nerd alliance, which, again, just kind of look at it from an outside perspective. Is Suri a nerd? I mean, not really. She doesn't really align with nerds. Like, you know what I mean? She plays a little bit more a dynamic of a game. And Aubrey was saying this, like having this alliance where everybody's the same. I don't play like that. I don't think most people play like that, actually. Right. So this idea that Suri was with them. So I don't think you're hearing that narrative. I think that's a big part that's missing. And then I think, honestly, you know, contrarian take, I think the season's going to get kind of boring from here because, you know, when they voted off both Coach and Chrissy, that like what was going to happen was there was going to be this big blockade of this, you know, trust and integrity alliance and these two different things trying to, you know, pull, you know, so I just think it's going to kind of, it's going to get a little bit boring here. I kind of perceive because Jonathan's going to get, you know, knocked out eventually and Stephanie's all on her own, you know, just so I'm going to appreciate the Suri, you know, domination from here on out, but I just can't see this season going any other way because who else has any power here? Who else has any influence? And, you know, in Rizzo and Ozzy, they have no intention of going against Suri either because Rizzo, you don't see Rizzo's alliance with anybody else. And Ozzy's like, Suri's my brain. How can I do anything against her? So what can change in this entire season? I don't see anything changing unless for some freak accident, Suri goes home. And then I think things get interesting. Then things shake up because Ozzy doesn't have his brain. Rizzo might have to scramble. And maybe that's where Rizzo shines. But I think as long as Cerie's in this game, it's just going to go, pretty steady.
We saw that with Australia, right? When Cirie and Parvati were together, it really kind of became their show, and they really drove the whole narrative the rest of the season. And so it did get a little boring with them because they were so dominant. And I see that same sort of dominance with everything. I do think we still need to give Rizzo some credit. So I was never a big Rizzo fan. Last season, I don't like the guy. He is annoying. He's the little kid brother that wants to tag along to everything. And I didn't see the value in Rizzo like I should have. And I decided I need to go back and rewatch some episodes of 49, which I did. And I'm watching Rizzo with new eyes, and I'm actually seeing a lot of value in how he plays and his style and that bravado that he's putting out there, the RIZGOD, the whole thing, as annoying as it is. I'm crossing over to that side of I appreciate Rizzo, and I think that I think we might get something from him in the end. I think that'll make this a little more exciting because he isn't going to allow what just happened to him in season 49. This just happened to him. This is all fresh in his mind of how it went down for him in season 49. So he's not going to let that happen again. I think that he'll bring some excitement. I do have new respect for Rizzo, and I think Cirie sees that in him without knowing 49 that well. I think she knows how to play him. So we'll see if she can do that. Any thoughts on that?
I do. So, the GOD result, this is like a smoke screen. I'm totally kind of, over the top, like crazy. But he's a very logical person, right? And he prides himself on playing a calculated game. He's a strategist, but he has this kind of, yeah, like that creates this like kind of attention and smoke screen. The only way that Rizzo wins is if he does get Cirie out. Yeah. Little Rizzo. And bless his heart, this guy is like skin and bones out there. His calf is like the size of his arm. Like, he's been out there. He's on a super long. So I think the only way that Rizzo wins is he has to do a big move. He has to take out one of the big players. If that was Cirie, then Rizzo can maybe earn his place, as a real. But I don't think being Cirie's number 2.
That's a real boy. I thought you were going to Pinocchio.
Yeah. I really thought that's where you were going. Very Pinocchio.
He's more like a Mickey Mouse. His voice got a little bit. Oh, I liked when Jeff's voice was cracking during the challenge. That was really cute. He's like, it's really hard. Oh my God.
That was Jiminy Cricket.
If Rizzo can vote out Cirie, that is like, the Riz God. That's the Riz God moment.
That's
then I'll put some. But I think being Cirie's number 2, being Cirie's extra vote, I mean, is being a GOAT, being dragged to the end by the greatest of all time. I mean, yeah, he got to the end, but do we remember who got second place in Survivor usually? Do they get any, I don't think so, right?
Yes.
So him getting to the end, number 2 to Cirie, who dominantly wins, potentially gets every single vote.
Will.
Right? I think she will.
Yeah. She makes
does Rizzo get his accolades?
Yes.
I don't think. I think you should get scorn because he should have voted Cirie out.
No.
The winner.
I think for his
Survivor.
There's your honor right there.
You should get scorned for taking somebody who would beat you hands down unanimously. You should get scorned.
Yeah, you won't get sworn and you won't get a vote because people are going to be so mad at you for betraying the person who drug you along by your own admission. She is dragging him. If she's the GOAT, he's like on her lead and she's dragging him along. And then at the end, there's no respect to somebody who gets to that.
Yes, there is. Of course there is.
Somebody like that.
If Rizzo, a totally unknown factor, can vote out the potentially greatest of all time at the last moment and slit her throat, that's amazing.
You
that's
win the game.
Survivor.
And that's why they don't vote her out now, because once they vote her out, they're like, He's the one who voted out Suri. It's the whole Denise voting out the queen thing on Winners at War. She voted out. Denise, that was great. Way too early. You're gone next. So whoever votes out Suri wins unless they did too early, and then the person that got you out will win. It'll all have to do with Suri get voted out. Suri either will get first place, and if they're smart, fourth place. If they're dumb, they vote her out too early. So,
well, we know that
yeah,
Rizzo
totally
lost
true.
to Savannah on the fire making challenge, and so he was not in the final 3. So, if he's not at camp making fires every single day, what is wrong with you, Rizzo? You got to be making those fires because
same with
you don't know.
Suri and him need to have some fire making parties. Absolutely.
100%.
Ozzy's gonna beat everybody in fire making, so we're not. This is again nothing I'm worried about. Go Ozzy.
Well, Brandon, you've been we've been loving hanging out with the Facebook group Vanua, and I know you've got some stuff to share. So let me pull that up on screen and get into it before somebody knocks on the window of your van and arrests you. So let's get to it.
It should have. I see the anchors dropping right now for that. I will.
Well, there's some lady that's walked by 3 times, and I'm starting to worry for you.
That's my boss.
She's be like, dude.
Yeah, that's Star from a couple of seasons ago. So Vanua, the place where great things happens. It's kind of like Sanctuary, but better. Way too early pick is now Suri. The first time it's not Ozzy or Christian. Suri. People are starting to see it's Suri. And anybody that has a hateful thing to say about that woman, they're not watching the show correctly at all. Jumped 15% in that poll. So Emily prediction did not hit. No votes for Emily, even no matter how much Tiffany wanted to go home, it don't matter. She ain't Suri. Vanua's favorite is still, would you like to say it, Johnville? Or she wants to leave, I guess.
I would be happy to say it.
Go ahead.
It is Ozzy, Oscar, Vanua's favorite, and fan pick to win, I presume.
Down this week, but as you see, Christian's name is on half of these for fan favorite and winner prediction. So this, out of all the votes, even though Mike White was a huge thing that happened, you could argue that the Camilla Genevieve were huge things that happened. This has been the biggest slap in the face to Vanua as far as someone they thought was going to win this game going home. So exciting stuff there. Here's how the votes went down. We've kind of said it. We're not going to count Ozzy, Stephanie, and Jonathan's vote against them. They obviously, I think, voted Devon's to make sure that there was enough people to vote out Christian, if there was an idol play, those kind of things, which Devon still has this idol. I don't know who believes that this is fake or if this is real anymore, but it's working. It's working. It's working until it won't. Ozzy gets 2 votes from Emily. We had a fan base interactive jury. You can go back and watch this on Monday. So go ahead and go to our YouTube site, check that out. But some more stuff that we've been doing on that fan draft. This is the order. We basically had every 5 to 10 minutes, we took a vote from the fans to see what they thought was going to happen every single episode from here on out. And as you see, Suri, in a unanimous decision, gets all 11 votes from this cast. So we'll see what happens. This is kind of our flow chart we've been dealing with. We've been saying that if you're in the middle, you have the best chance. He's right there. He made
it to the middle.
and it doesn't necessarily have to do with placement, but just if you're surrounded by 3 other people, you got yourself some pretty good alliances. Ozzy has that Tiffany relationship he talked up the other day, so I'm very interested to see if that does anything, or if Tiffany has enough power for it to do anything. I think Suri's too much in Ozzy's ear for anything to take place in that relationship, but it's there. And then Suri's surrounded by everybody. I would put Jeff's picture up there if I could. And you see Emily on the outs right now with really nobody. She switched over with Devon's, but we did have Christian, live long and prosper, buddy. 11th place. 3% will he be eliminated? 3% would you eliminate him? So very far down the list. Will he win? 3rd place in both votes. 9-0 in voting because he voted for himself. It's the only survivor to go undefeated in voting and not make it to the final tribal council, thanks to Jimmy Fallon. However you feel about it, it's what it is. Challenge wins, one group, one individual, one group reward, and then his really only enemy was Mike White, and he wasn't really an enemy. He just got him out, this little cerebral assassin that Christian became. And as you guys have said, and I agree, I think Christian made the enemies because he was less about the relationship. Like, he would rock you in a hammock. But other than that, he was pretty, I think, more demanding than Suri. Suri, I think, is more of a how can this help us, as she's been talking about these votes. So what do you think is Christian's legacy from, before we get to previewing this next episode, what do you guys think is Christian's legacy he's leaving? What will we think of Christian's game here in 10 years?
Well, I think that, he's always brought a lot to the game. I enjoy watching him play. I think he's very analytical and very smart at the game. Sadly, the legacy he leaves behind is pooping. I'm so sorry, Christian, but
hope not. Are we over that? I thought we'd be over that.
I thought we would be too. Johnville, you're muted, but you've got a lot to say on this.
No, I was over it. I can't believe you brought it back up.
It's like the biggest thing I remember from the season, unfortunately.
I mean, I think that his legacy was getting Mike White out way too early. It didn't hurt me at the time. But I do think that his decision to do that was really, because remember, it was just a dagger to his heart. I think he did it because his feelings were hurt. So maybe his legacy is that he made a big move by getting rid of Mike White to his detriment, but that he maybe plays with his feelings a lot. So there's that. And I saw that Deshaun said, I'm happy Caitlin Hubicki got the boot. I don't know who Caitlin Hubicki is, but I am sad that Christian got the boot. I would not have cared 2 weeks ago, but for some reason he's gotten into my soul a little bit. So yeah, he's better than Ozzy, Deshaun. So I'll agree with you on that one. I will agree because it could have been Ozzy, apparently, thanks to Emily and Devins. Anyway, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Cochran is the famous brainiac who won, and there was high hopes for Christian because the Cochran win was cool, right? To see somebody who's not a survivor go out there and play the super. I think that's what people love about Survivor. It's this analytical game, and we have this desire that somebody who's totally cerebral can come into Survivor and strategize, even outside of their potentially antisocial or there's so much of a nerd, right? We kind of all feel like this, where we're just too nerdy. We're that kid who doesn't fit in, but maybe we can use our brain to figure all these things out in life. But that's not really true. Right? There's so many other things: likability, social skills, the vibe, how you communicate, talk with people. Christian, he ended up being, people knew his game, right? When kind of the quirks of Christian, it's not really that quirky. He doesn't come off that, this makes me think, what if Carolyn came in again and people know, would people be a little bit wiser to her? Are they going to be a little bit less flattered and a little bit less amused by her exaggerations? And I think you saw that on Traitors. People kind of, I don't know if a lot of people knew Carolyn going into Traitors, but she wasn't as well received on Traitors. They did kind of treat her as an outcast. And I think Christian kind of got put into that, people are rolling their eyes. He's kind of this coach. He's kind of this, he's a character, and we anticipate the character, know the character, and it's not as charming anymore. So, get out of here. So that I wish Christian could win, but I ended up, not liking him at the end because he didn't play the Brainiac game. He fell right into Cerise's trap. Who is the real Brainiac?
And
I think I was going to say, I think that with Christian's game, it was pretty evident. People could see through it pretty quickly, which is why Cerise is but you're still falling victim to her manipulations, because she makes you feel so good about falling for her manipulations. But I will say this about Cerise. I think we're seeing so much more of, I think she's talking to the camera more in a way of, this is my game because this is her last time playing. I think she already kind of knows that. So she's basically thinking of this as her magnum opus. This is her master class on how do you learn, how do you play and manipulate on Survivor to get to the end. If you aren't challenge, if you are, if you're not like this beast and all these different things, really your game, you come in as a social player and this is how you do it. I think that's the legacy that Suri is leaving us with. And with Christian, he came in to just atypical to who he is all of the time. This is who I am. And even though I do think, because you did say more emotional, I think having his son, I think that made him more emotional. And it also clouded his ability to play in a smarter way. I think
made him more
hindered.
emotional, but it did not make him more vulnerable, which is, I think, is what he needed. We saw his emotions because they were off to the side conversations with the camera. I don't know if he got all that vulnerable, and maybe he did. But I think that was a huge part of it as well. And I think the charades of, Christian and Devon's in this idol and them not telling people information and him holding things from Emily. The guy went to 9 tribal councils, more than anybody else besides Emily at this point, and maybe not even Ozzy, not even Ozzy, because Ozzy had to go to exile. So him and Emily, you can't go to 9 unless you're Denise Stapley and expect to stay in this game for as long as they did. So I will give him his flowers. I think he improved from the last time he played. And I do think he made some mistakes along the way too, like maybe voting Mike White out a little bit too early and letting the emotion, that's interesting, letting the social aspect get to him a little bit that he wasn't ready for.
Well, he chose to keep the fact that he was a father, secret, which it shouldn't, right? That's something so close to you.
People, that's the vulnerability he has. And he
doesn't get that like, how do people connect with you? And I think that's he couldn't make those crossroads with people, with Jonathan. Those emotional connections with people can overcome, obstacles, right? But they just scoped him as, this is a brainiac. He'll cut you at any moment. He has no heart. He's a robot. He has no heart. That's what a robot is. He's not human, and he never humanized himself.
Yep. Well, great.
Johnville, I want to get to Johnville really quick because I know she had some stuff to say about this. So I want to get to you, Johnville. What do you think about Christian? Where are you at with things? I think she's frozen now.
She is frozen.
Say this.
Oh. She is a robot.
He could have stayed.
I was about to say she's a robot.
Oh, I'm a robot. Can you hear me now?
There, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was gonna say the only thing I have to say, and it's super quick so we can move on, is that I do believe, Brandon, I hear you on him going to 9, like it's coming. I think that he could have survived this if he had not thrown Ozzy's name out. They had a decent plan, and for some reason, he went and did that, which made people start saying, oh, okay, you're snaking people who are supposed to be your friends. And they were supposed to be in the cahoots, and that was not cool.
Yeah, he was fast-paced. He was a little too fast-paced, yeah. Like where he should have been a 5, he was like at a 7. It wasn't like Jenna Lewis, who was like a 9, but he was just a little bit too fast. And when you're getting to the top 10 of season 50, it's got to be the 5 right now, and it's not. Good point. Cool. So keep on going. This is the new flow chart. So you see Suri, Ozzy, and Tiffany. Tiffany's kind of in the middle. I think she's safe. Not because she's having a great game, but I think she's just safe. She hasn't done really anything to get her suggested kicked out. She doesn't have any super tight relationships, but tight enough relationships. Rizgod hanging out with, just right now, from my understanding, is the Wizard of Oz. He may have some side conversations here and there. I think he had something with Joe for a little bit. So it was hard to put him in 2 different places, but just imagine that as like the Wizard of Oz with Ozzy and Suri kind of being a little bit more, which again, if we want to see, like Alex said, this game, blow up and be exciting, I think it has to be RIZGOD that has to blow this thing up, or Suri wins this thing. Keep on going. Jury management real quick. If you look onto the left, those are our jury so far. And I think based on, completely subjectivity of my viewing experience for like 5 minutes, you have the people who are most likely to get their vote all the way down to least likely. And that's why I think, Tiff and Joe's, they don't have a chance. I don't think Aubrey's done enough. We've kind of talked about how they showed the conversation, but where are we at here? And more of the stronger players, I think, are your, perhaps only Jonathan, because he has the honor and integrity thing going with some. but it's mostly Sari, as we see on this list. Ozzy's up there in the top 5 of everybody's list. So any thoughts you guys have about jury management as we approach the numbers dwindling and the jury becoming far more important here in a second?
I like it. I think I would actually put, like, I don't think Christian will vote for Devins. I think he would vote for Suri. I think he can see how hindsight's 2020, and he just got voted off. And
that's a hard thing with the Charlie thing, right? Do you vote for your friend, the one you came with, or do you vote for who you think is the better player?
Well, I think that he's going to know that he made a mistake. Where did I make a mistake? Who did I say names to that changed the game? And Suri is just going to be at the top of the list every single time. Plus, they're going to watch how things play out. I really think that Suri right now, if they were to vote, would win this hands down.
Yeah.
With everybody that's still left in the game. I don't think Coach and Chrissy are voting Jonathan quite yet, because he hasn't done really any, unless it's just like, you're my buddy, I'm going to vote for you.
And keep in mind, as we do this, that's expecting that Devins and Jonathan get to the end. If those two people get to the end on this game, I'm going to be surprised, because they have to have done something to keep them in.
Yeah, Jonathan's not doing enough for me right now. Just blustering a lot and being hungry, and now getting fed and being, he's skipping down the beach. He skipped. He learned how to skip again, and he's skipping down the beach. He's so happy. That's Suri's American culinary winner, rice. So I don't. That's me.
Yeah, what's your guys' take on jury management? Who's looking great? Who's not? What should they be doing? Anything like that?
I think that nobody has really made a very, significant move. A lot of the moves have been made by consensus, and that's because the idols have been, basically constricted with the rules around them, and so there's very little wiggle room, and so people haven't wanted, like Devins kind of puts himself out there, but it immediately backfires. So because everyone's kind of so wise to these things, everyone doesn't want to make a move, because once you make a move, you kind of go above the fray. Now you're a target. And this is what I'm saying. I kind of foresee that it kind of, everyone's playing very low key, under the radar type of game, because as soon as you make a big move, you're going to be right? You're going to be the person who gets eliminated, because nobody wants to be one-upped on the jury. So, Jonathan, I think, is
going to get exciting at like 7. I think it's going to get really exciting here at 7.
Well, once people start seeing like, hey, I need, like, no one's really doing anything, I need to do something. Ozzy, playing the idol, I think he'll think that's like maybe a big thing. But again, they were given the idol. They did not find the idol. They were given the idol. So is that a big play? I think Jonathan's in like the worst position, because he's, pissed D off. Coach, like, they like each other. Chrissy likes Jonathan. They're cut from the same cloth. So will he win just because of that? Potentially, but he has to get to the end, and he has to go on an immunity run or something crazy like that. And then Aubrey is doing a bad job, I think, with jury management, just because nobody really likes her. Emily, terrible jury management, and and like I said, you don't. Oh, and Stephanie too, right? So she's kind of unknown a little bit, and then you don't know how people feel about Rizzo. Like that entire narrative, which is the central narrative of this episode. There isn't that discussed at all. So that's kind of my thought on jury management.
Great. Cool.
I just agree with everything everyone's saying. The only thing I would say differently is, let's see, Jonathan's not going to make it. Devins will be gone soon. And all I see is Ozzy moving up in all these lines. So, yeah.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
That's all I got. That's it.
I can't wait to see what happens with you two at the end of this. Let's see. And the one thing I wanted to hit on, I know we're going long on time a little bit, is just if this is Suri doing this or not, I don't know. But I believe she is, because I think she's that great, is the type of player that's being voted out. Christian D and the 2 double vote of Coach and Chrissy. These are 3 different voting blocks. And if you look at the picture, what this is trying to say is, if you have a Christian vote, you probably already have a Devins vote, maybe even an Emily vote. you have a D vote, you probably have a Tiffany and a Riz God vote. So like, I just think that the thing that Sari is doing is not just eliminating honor and loyalty, or not just doing this, but just making sure she's going around the gamut, getting all these different groups out at all the right times. We're pro Sari if you don't know that, guys.
All right.
So, yeah,
well, everybody's got to get back to lunch and get out of the van and all this stuff.
Right
Who's going home this week? Johnville.
now? The goldfish.
Emily Flippin is going home this week.
Yep. Brandon, who's going home this week?
Emily would be a good decision, but I think it's going to be the Sari wheel of people, and I think it's going to hit Jonathan. I think we're going to get another honor and loyalty gone because he's losing immunity. He's getting close, and he needs to go because he's going to be a challenge threat. Emily is not.
Alex.
I think it will be Emily. I think it'll be Emily. Because I don't think they want to have, because Aubrey, Rick, and, Emily, that's a solid 3. So I think they need to disempower that maybe one more time. And then they can let Devins kind of hang out there for a little bit and just be a annoyance. Yeah. I don't know, though, because they're worried about Devins, right? Does he have an idol? And so they put votes on him this time. They put votes on Emily. That might be the same situation again. And then they do just vote Rick off, right? So they have enough to split. So maybe it's actually Devins. Maybe it's Devins.
I think it's Devins. I think it's a Devins. Emily. I think Emily's the alternative, right? So Devins isn't really. I think first the biggest mistake Devins made is he told Emily that it's just a farce and it's not real. I think Emily is then going to go and tell some people about it, like specifically Sari, that is not a real idol. And so I think they put votes on Devins. They don't necessarily believe 100% on Emily, but they split the vote. Emily and Devins. I think if Devins obviously plays an idol that's not real and he goes home, but I think Emily gets put in a really bad position after that, and I think she goes home right after that.
Emily is saved by Mr. Beast.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, and his box. Yeah. Flipping.
The Super Beware Advantage. We've got Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson coming at us next week on the episode that we've been hearing so much about. Luckily, Jimmy Fallon couldn't find Fiji, which is probably a good thing because would have done terrible things. I would love to see Christian when he appears on Jimmy Fallon's show. But until then, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.